Hey folks, this is Noble Rambler, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Banished. We're using the Colonial Charter mod, version 1.6, the Forge Awakens, and this is a flax plant, right? Okay, it will be a bamboo eventually, but right now it's flax, that's right. We've switched this over to replant next year as bamboo. But I've never really zoomed in to take a look at these before. We've got a nice little blue flower on them, like a group of reeds or something. Looks pretty good. Anyway, this is our town of Ramblington, and where to go this episode? I know we're working down here to get this situated before we move on to the new city. It's what I hope to be the last little burst of food to kind of level us off. We'll see. But first of all, I want to say a quick welcome to Zelphia Ellerson, who stopped by episode 1 to say that Night Ghost 49 has sent her our way, and that she's got her big bowl of popcorn ready to watch the series. And also Grammy Cat stopped by in episode 8 to say that she's watching the series now. She left a link to that chart that we've been using that shows all the stuff in Colonial Charter 1.6, so thanks for that. And New Foundation stopped in and wanted to throw in some advice and talk about the plantations and balancing the edible versus inedible and trying to help figure that all out. And he says he's going to be binge watching to help catch up. So when all three of you get here to, where are we? Episode 41, I think. Then you'll get to hear a hearty welcome. And off we go. But before I go any further, Conan the Thin Bloke threw in a link in between episodes. I'll pop it up here on the screen. Like a crop chart that shows you the crops that are in Colonial Charter 1.6. And let me pull up my copy of it here. Over on the left side, you've got all the orchards. In the middle, you've got the crops. And on the right, you've got all the climates of the game. And each column will show you basically the high and low temperatures and how many months it takes for them to create fruit or what have you. So, based on that, looks like all of the orchards should work in every climate. So what's been happening in our olives and mulberries, I have no idea. Don't quite understand what's up with that. Random roll of the dice, I'm not sure. I'm going to try and pay a little more attention to our temperatures. We're in the early summer right now at 80 degrees, so I'm thinking we run probably in the 90s during the summer, which explains why the potato wasn't doing too well last time, and maybe it got too hot. I see potato is, where to go, 85 degrees for its peak, for its high limit. And you see some crops are 2 months, some are 2.5, some are 3 on the middle section there, which means that we want, I'd come up with 150 squares, a 10 by 15 as being just the right size for one farmer to handle when the labor is checked. So the laborers will pick it up and not the farmer. But that now has a little bit of tweaking to do in the sense that a crop that only takes 2 months to grow you can take longer planting it and there'll still be enough time for it to grow. So they could be put into a slightly bigger field. Things that take 3 months to grow have got to get planted sooner, so you've got to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to throw out the guess that a 3-month crop is closer to the 140 range, and a 4-month or a 2-month crop is closer to the 160 range. So I went through before the episode and kind of moved crops around. It's not going to show this year, but next time when they replant, the crops that needed the most time, I put in these 3 smallest fields here, which will be the corn and the potatoes, and the ones that grow the fastest, broccoli and what have you, sunflower. I put those down in the bigger fields, and we'll see how well that works. A little bit of tweaking to the balancing. We'll see what we come up with. Going through my to-do list, and boy, I've got a long to-do list this time. It's been a couple of days since I recorded, and a lot of comments have rolled in. Let's see here. Lady Shell was well, that's the wrong button. Try that again. Was informing me about something that I'd kind of forgotten about or hadn't spent really any time working with them yet. We were going to kind of do the docks later in what I was thinking might be like a bayou setting over here. Maybe make a separate little town over here that interacts with the big town. But something that might really help us right now and not to wait for. You know, the reed farms, I've had other folks tell me about these. We've got those going. But there is also over here, a rice farm that she was under the impression, and I think it's right, that this is probably a year-round crop like the reeds are, unlike the regular farms which are seasonal. So it might very well be that this is more of an even all year long, like the gatherers or like the fisherman huts sort of a crop, which could help us out right now food-wise. So I want to go ahead and put this in, and she also brought up the dock workshop, which says does several things. Deals with fuel for homes, basic clothing, rough tools, and rope. And what caught my attention was the basic, what's it called, the fuel for homes. I am thinking that has to do with the reeds, we're going to find out, and that has to do with fire bundles. So the reeds here, one person is doing roughly 450, roughly the same thing as two people are doing over in the shore house. So it's almost like the dock buildings are tweaked a little bit higher in their yield and their capacity. So I think I'm going to right off the bat shut down the shore house, save these two employees for something else, and let's get the workshop going to see how it compares with the bundling sheds. We've got two people. Don't really have an accurate count yet because I've only just put the two people in last episode, so we need to let it go for a year to see what their real total is. What do we got here? Yeah, so maybe this season will be the first real season for them. But we'll compare that with whatever we're going to get out of the dock workshop making fire bundles, if that in fact is what it is. So I'm going to pop that in real quick. Is there any reason why I can't turn time on? I think there's no real deadlines right now. I do want to get back to here, right here, long before we get to winter time, so that they can be taking this out and get these fields ready for next spring. So I think we can run it on at least speed 1 for the moment. But I want to get the docks in over here. Tools, don't worry about. We've already dumped all the tools out of the trader. It's going to start filling up, and we've now got 4 workers building steel tools. We've got to deal with coal in a little bit, which may be the reason this thing dropped, but we'll get there in a moment. Let's deal with the docks real quick. So we're over here, and docks, let's grab the 3s, and let's do it up here, and do this, and this. Here's where we don't want to build. How far down can I go? Right about there. So we're going to come off with a dock. What was that last one? Stone is low. So let's come off. Well, it's kind of hard to do this far away, but I'm thinking that's about the right spacing to get some buildings between that dock and the other buildings already on the other dock. Let's come out with 3 or 4 of these. Really be careful to track these. They disappear afterward. I think that's as far as I want to go, is right there, so we still have room for a building at the end if we choose to. Diet of old age. Okay. Still at 23 laborers. Good. Alright, so there's where we're at. I want to come up on one side. Let's see, how do I want to do this? That's the services. We want to do the rice planter. You want to do the workshop and probably another home. How's the storage doing? Storage was this one. 75% full. Probably want to stick another storage in there too. Alright, if this works, then we'll come off the other side and do more of the rice farms out over here. But this is a test one for now. So, rice farm. How do we want to do this? First of all, what is the front? There's the staircase right there. So if we got the rice farm, not quite enough room. I thought I had left enough. Alright, we'll go right there. And the workshop, how big is that? And it is What is considered the front? It looks like the pathway goes right there through the center, top to bottom, the way it's oriented right now. I think those are the connection points. So, if I were to put it like, actually even like that. Where's my circles? There they are. So if we came in like this, I want to get in here a little bit. Can we, where am I at? Alright, let's do this a different way. See where I can see it. Well, that didn't work. I can't, yeah, it's not going to go red over the water. I want to be able to see what is real here. Can I run a dock through here? Apparently I cannot. Docks are hard to work with. They really are. It's green there. But we hit the building I just put in by 1. Okay. This building needs to go away. Let's do that. Let's put in a dock first. I want to make the pathing a little bit easier. To go there. I need a 2, I believe. There it is. That should connect. Let's go back to the rice farm. It's like working with invisible buildings. Okay, the staircase is there, and that is the dock, and that is the one we just put in. Alright, so I'll go 1 over. We'll leave a space in between just to see, just because I think it'll look good. And now the workshop. Alright, it kind of fits in there. That's where it is right there. That connects to this dock over here, or we rotate it that way and it connects to that dock over there. We'll do... I think I like this one better. We're going to connect to the lower side there. Right there. And we can go right there. Okay, so we got those 2 done. Let's throw another house in over here and another storage. So storage is this guy. We're going to do the small storage again. This does an upgrade, right? There is an upgrade to the dock residence. Ooh, that's where the rope's used. Extra living space for up to 6 people, as well as better warmth and comfort. Yeah, let's do that. They're going to be angry with me now. They're having to move out, but they'll have a much better house when it's done. Anyway, small storage. So, this one, where is the connection point? Looks like all 4 sides have a connection point. Okay. So, we're over here. We're going to come down. That's the end of the dock right there. Ah. So, if we were to do this and add another section, another probably 2 dock. Boy, let's find that there. There. Now, if we were to take the footprint of a bigger building, there's a dock home. We should be able to see where the reds are. And that ended just like that. Okay, I can see that now. And this side is available all the way through. So, rotate this around. The porch is the connection point. So we're going to come in, hit the dock right there. And we will house right there. And let's house right there. Alright. Theoretically, that's correct. We won't really know till we see it build. A lot of that was done, kind of building a jigsaw puzzle with a blindfold. So we'll see how that actually comes out. So with that, we're going to move on. We did have that trader. I've still got my fingers on the wrong buttons. Let's go find that trader real quick, then we'll come back and work with coal. He was this one. Not bacon. Alright, you have got building materials. You are the hauler. Okay. The junk van. We do not need logs. Hopefully we won't need them anymore. Hopefully we're done with that. Charcoal. Charcoal will go into the houses. And it's at 3. Probably wouldn't hurt. I think we can go ahead and do that. This one does not buy food. It does not use food to make the purchase. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the charcoal. At least I assume. Let's get down to the end of the list here and see if we want to trade that in. Tools we're fine now, so we don't need to buy the bronze ones. Stone we will take. Ooh, 7 each though. That's pricey. But yeah, we will take it. So 200 of that. Copper, candles, herbs. Okay, sand. I don't recall. I know we had boosted the sand production somewhat. I've added an extra 2 workers in sand total. Sand. There you are. We bought 1,000 the other, a trader or 2 back, and we're still sitting on that 1,000. So we're okay on sand. So with that, let's go ahead and see if we can do this. We can do this in herbs alone. Any reason why we want to do anything else? We're not going to use glass. Not going to use furniture. Homewares we could, except we're getting ready to move over to the new city, and we're going to be using all this homeware, so let's stop spending those. Wool coats, we can probably play with those. We can use the last of our pea coats, so 4 of those. There's always gobs of candles. Let's do at least 50 of those. Glassware, I think we've got quite a bit of that. That's where all of our sand is going, or ending up, so we'll do half of those. Wooden statues are out. Rope we're going to hang on to now that we may be upgrading some of the dock buildings. None of these are at their full count again, so we've probably depleted the town with that. Fancy furniture, we're doing okay there. So let's grab, say 40 of those. I don't want to take full quantities when I can avoid it and just deplete the town completely. So wool coats, let's grab 50 of those. And where are we sitting now? An additional 470. So let's do that in herbs. Alright, so 70 more. Actually, let's take that one up, and what can we pull out instead? We'll pull out 1 wool coat and call it good. Oh, an additional 5. Okay. 1 healing poultice. And we'll throw in a tip. There we go. Trade and dismiss. So that gave us a few more. Oh, come on, guy. I got other things to do. You just take your time. So, coal. That was the next big question. And really, it came down to what are we using the various fuels for? You know, what is the coal being used for? What is the coke being used for? What is the charcoal, etc.? Let's take a good look at what we're actually doing with it all. At least what we can make some guesses about. Charcoal, the town is empty. Coke fuel, we've got some kicking around, almost 700. Coal, we're very low. We need to increase our coal miners. And what else do we have? Fire bundles, we've got a few. That's why I want to see if we can really boost with this workshop that we're putting in at the dock. Firewood. I actually have some firewood now. And we still have a bunch of logs. I've got, I think, 2 woodcutters working right now just to bring in some. I'm not trying to heat the whole town with firewood anymore. But I do want to have some floating in and around. Probably not enough to be using it to trade anymore. We're going to be trading with other things now. Trading with firewood is typical of vanilla Banished, but there's so many other options available now with Colonial Charter that that's probably we're probably seeing the end of the trading with firewood as being a norm. And furnace fuel. I think that was our 6th one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that was number 6. So basically, industry is running off of furnace fuel, and in some ways, I believe coal. In the homes, it is charcoal in the homes. Coke fuel they really, really like. I mean, this is a huge number compared to the rest. 3,700, 400. Coal does not go into the homes anymore. That was a big problem at the beginning of the game of Banished. You know, early on when the game just came out, you'd have all your miners, and they'd be making all this coal, and the citizens would be grabbing it and taking it all into their homes to use instead of firewood. And you'd have nothing left to make your steel tools with. So apparently Colonial Charter, at least the 1.6, has eliminating coal going into the homes. So coke goes into the homes, charcoal goes into the homes. Get down here into the F's, firewood goes into the homes, and fire bundles go into the homes. Furnace fuel is industry. So coal and furnace fuel are industry. The others are all available to go into the homes, and maybe some of the others are capable of doing both. So I'm going to leave this pinned, and I get more and more folks commenting in the comments from videos from episode 1 all the way up, kind of randomly. You can pin the town arrival, right? And the traders. Yeah, I know. It just gives me a reason to come by and realize, oh man, we're maxed out. So I kind of like panning through the map. Although sometimes my mind is somewhere else and I'm not noticing all these yellow circles are up here and we are out of what have you. Flax we're out of. We're going to be moving to hemp this year, this season. Flax, another problem here. In fact, to tell you what, we've shut down our linens because the flax is gone. So let's just go ahead and switch this over to hemp right now. So any flax that does come in goes here instead. This is the homeware supplier for fancy. We're probably out of pewterware, and we're probably out of silverware. So we're probably done with fancy homewares for a while. How many did we get built before we ran out? Because we're not making the silverware and pewterware at the moment. Let's see, fancy furniture, homewares. We are out. Oh, they're probably in the traders. We'll have to look at that. But that was these. One more building to take a quick peek at. Silk. Silk has been a problem for a long time. Okay. But by not pinning this, it forces me to move around the map. When we get over to the main city, we're going to have to get that pin because it's just going to take too long to move across the map this size. This map is huge. But Dock Home is being done. I was looking at what? Now I've completely lost my thought process here. I turned that off and I went to go look at something. Okay, well, I don't know if this was it or not, but this is something that needs to be done next. So we're just going to go straight to talk about coal. So we are making coal, turning it into furnace fuel, as well as we're taking fire bundles and turning it into furnace fuel. And that, I think, is where we need to make some changes. I think we need to start designating specific fuels for specific uses. And the multiple uses need to probably start, becoming more specific rather than so general. In other words, I think I'm going to switch this guy to coal as well, so that we're just using coal to make furnace fuel. And the reason I would say one in each, the impression that I've got is that the second worker in any building does not necessarily make as much as the first one. In other words, a building with 4 workers is not necessarily making 4 times the output as 4 buildings with 1 worker. So since this building's already made, let's just go ahead and use it, but 1 in each. And we may eventually change our mind and go in with something else entirely. Maybe we'll start having this guy make it out of something else. I don't know. But at the moment, I want to do that. And I want to go ahead and increase our coal production. So let's add... We've got lots of laborers available. So I've got the game on 1 speed at the moment. I want a chance to explain everything and yet not have so much time go by that we've missed some opportunities. So we're going to increase coal over here. And we are doing something with coal over this area. Let's go ahead and increase the coal in this area a little bit too. Don't need to go as much. What are we doing over here? We are making more furnace fuel. And we're making out of firewood. I don't remember doing that. Let's do this. Let's switch him over to coal. We will add 2 more workers here. And we will turn this guy off. So we'll make furnace fuel over on this side and furnace fuel over on that side. And this furnace fuel will be used for certain things, and this will be used for other things. What are we using it for over here? We're making it here. Oh, he's off. Okay, now he's on. There we go. And he's making out of coal. So he is going to make furnace fuel for this area, which is going to be dumped into the potters. Oh, he's furnace fuel over there, yeah. You are bricks out of furnace fuel. Okay. So that furnace fuel kind of stays localized. Theoretically, it's probably all sitting over here for all I know. And then he is making it here. And what was being made out of furnace fuel in this area? I don't recall. That's something, I mean, eventually it will be turned into something, but I'm not certain right now. Probably off camera I need to spend some time just kind of clicking on all the buildings and reminding myself what's going on. We're also using coal to make coke, and that was because that's what the citizens seem to like the most for heating their houses with. Whether or not that needs to shut down and just depend on fire bundles from the reeds to do that is something that's got to be considered. But by the time I figure all that out, I'll be at 40 minutes and we won't have even advanced this episode any. So I'm going to call it done on the coal. You guys throw your thoughts and comments out there on which fuel specifically should be used for only one purpose and nothing more. You know, I do like the diversity and the ability to do some things with, you know, with multiple fuels. So I don't want to take firewood out of the economy completely, even though we can do the entire thing with fire bundles or with coke fuel or what have you. I just feel like this guy is as much a part of Banished as anything else in here, if not more so. There's a sentimental value here. This has been here from the very beginning, and the thought of having firewood moving into the log cabins, you know, in the old wooden houses just seems right. So firewood is going to stay, but how best to use coke otherwise, or fire bundles otherwise? I'm thinking just supplements to the firewood. But that's where I'm going to go with the fuels for right now. We've got more coal coming out. We just added 5 and 3, so 8 more workers. We already had 8, so miners, we're at 16 now. Miners, we're at 15. All right, I think it was 2 and 5. Okay, so we added 7. So that's about doubled our coal output, and we shut down 1 coal to furnace fuel. So that should give us a surplus, a net surplus of coal, as far as making sure that our blacksmiths now have access to coal again, which should keep our tools moving forward. So with that, let's move on to the next one. So we talked about the reed farms over here, and they're doing a far better job than this guy was. What is our reed count right now? Reeds. That caught me once before, where I thought we were out of reeds. Turns out we weren't. I was in homes and not storage. There's the count for reeds. So we've got a lot of reeds. Okay. So we could put in 2 or 3 times as many bundling sheds if we wanted to. That's what I want to wait and see what the dock workshop can do. Yeah, maybe we're either putting in another couple of bundling sheds or we're putting in another couple of workshops. But that is that one. Also wanted to check to see how the butchers are doing. How much raw meat are we sitting on? Are we backing up, or are we keeping up with the processing? So beef is out of the loop right now. Pork's at 300. What's mutton doing? Mutton, none. Okay, so that butcher is overtaking the quantity available to him. The last one is venison. Now venison, we just added a bunch of hunters. In fact, we doubled our hunters. Tripled? Hunters. H. There you are. Yeah, we had 3, now we've got 9. So we should be seeing a lot more venison coming in than we ever had before. I think that warrants a second butcher. And I would like to put it down here with the other ones, but the supply is coming out of this area over here. So where to put that butcher in? It is being stored most likely out here. No. Okay. It's being gathered from here. There's 200 and 600. Is it being taken directly to the distribution barns? No. Oh, it's fun tracking down goods in Banished. Well, it's coming out of this area, and it's being carried to somewhere. There's 700 venison somewhere. It's coming in. This distribution barn doesn't have it. I wonder if it's going straight into the... No, market doesn't have it. There is a market over here. That's right. Bet you he's got it all. Venison, there's 200 of it. We have another market over here. And he's got most of the rest. Okay. So it feels like this area could be where that butcher sits. You know, I'm just going to do something like right there. I think that's fairly efficient and still a central point for these other markets to grab the venison cuts that we're taking out of here. Let's go ahead and do that. Food, butchers, deer butcher, right in there. Something like that. So we'll queue him up there. Next thing on my list is the Tavern. I wanted to see how that ever came out. Where am I? We dropped that one in right here. That's what our tavern looks like. And what I was curious about was whether or not the taverns made the coffee. But I see now the taverns store, but they don't make. So that, if I recall, drops into the realm of the pub kitchen. So let's continue our little experiment here to figure out how we're going to make coffee. I know it exists. I just don't know if we're allowed to make it or if it's like marble. It's something that you have to buy. So let's try to answer that question. Pub kitchen here. You'll grab supplies from the market over here and then drop off his goods over here at the tavern. Alright, so that one, let's actually keep that one up where we can see it. Now, here's something that wasn't on my list. There's fancy homewares. We do have... Oh, fancy homewares. I did that same mistake I did with the reeds. I was in stored in home, and there aren't any. Stored in storage, fancy homewares. There's 34. You're probably there at home watching this video saying, no, it's the wrong one. Okay, so we do have a few fancy homewares that we made with our silverware and pewterware. So we get into some fancy buildings, we'll make sure that that we use them for those. So this guy over here is this one, right there. He was put in to see if we could draw clay and furnace fuel over here for these guys to grab. This is the materials stall. This vendor will go out and grab materials. And he has yet to ever grab any clay or any furnace fuel. So I'm going to say, well, this is a neat idea. It's not working for the purpose that we had intended. So he is going to go away. Alright, that one is done. These, I've liked these things. I'm thinking that this is what I was hoping this was going to do. These wood carts, right over here, bringing the logs over so that these guys can grab them and just go right back to work again. So this is a good thing. In fact, I'm thinking about making a few more of these around town, very specifically. I just wish there was its version, a version of a cart for fuel, for clay, for sand, for glass, what have you. But there isn't. But our other one is over here, which is keeping the sawmill going. So this one actually is empty at the moment. He's on his way to pick up another load and bring it out here. We do have lots of logs. Remember, up to 1,500. This guy's been sitting here, hasn't he? I'm just talking and talking. Seeds. I don't know if there's any seeds we really need to go for right now. I kind of don't want to get distracted by any more crops. And really, to buy seeds now means to go through that crop chart one more time and really think about what works here and what doesn't. Squash is like the potatoes. It's only 85 degrees. So probably don't want those in there. And there was, I think, another one that was 85 degrees. It was, the lowest temperature. So if we get to 90, we're at 34 right now. Oh, we're dropping into late autumn. I'm going to hit pause. We need to get those fields in. But before I do that, see the tavern, pub kitchen. Yep, that was the end of the list. Last thing to do are the fields. There we are. Mouse would. No, I was over here. Okay, real quick. And yeah, I'm going to pass. You're gone. And you're coming, you're creeping in there. Oh, come on, let's go, let's go. Speed you back up. Drop in. And we are going to leave this area. Alright, what have you got? Sand, we don't need. Tin, building supplies, clay. We're still fine on clay. We should have still around that 3,000 mark. Fancy furniture, candles. I'm not seeing any ores. I'm not seeing any more stone. So I think we're going to dismiss you as well. Alright, before we turn time back on, let's get these fields over here. You are the new vendor. Oh, we didn't turn you off. Okay. You are now officially a laborer. Good. Now, what I wanted to do was put in at least 2 more farms. I was thinking of 3, but I think there's enough room here because this is a little bit wider than these 2. So to add another line, another width, another square width to these guys, we don't have to be as long and still have as much space. That's my thought. So if we put 2 more plantations here, then we could get, instead of 1 bamboo and 1 flax, we could do 2 flax, 2 bamboo, 2 hemp, and then whichever one is doing the best, occasionally swap out for cotton to reinforce our cotton quantities. So that means I need to take this road out, and I really needed to take it out like a few months ago. So that might be a problem as far as timing goes, but we'll see. Because all of our laborers are picking up all the goods now. But let's take that. That's interesting. This has been doing this for a while. It thinks there's a road here. It thinks there's something that can be taken out right there. Obviously we can't see it. I was having that problem before when we were out over here and I was fighting these roads in this area, trying to get rid of roads that were in the wrong place. It was showing them there even though they weren't there. So there's a little bit of a bug going on in that area that needs to be worked out during this beta process. Anyway, let's throw in roads. Let's see. How many spaces are we? How do I determine that? Let's go this route. This is 17. So if we went out to 8... So that plant right there would be where the road goes. So let's road through there, here, and we're using just the dirt roads out here. Like that. And on up till we touch. Then we're going to shoot, across like so. Like so. And we're going to turn off, the cancel. That one. Nope, just that one. Okay, so that road's going to go there. When these come out, we're going to put 2 plantations in. This plantation needs to go away right now because it's going to be increased to the full length to match that road. And I kind of wish I'd kicked that road out a little further. Now that I see that, I didn't see it at the moment, but that'll be fine. So plantation is the big leaf right there, and let's throw one of these in. We're in the 7 by 22 range. What is that? Where is that calculator? I heard a big crash the other day and looked over and Nico, my cat, was enjoying knocking things off of shelves, and one of them was the calculator. Oh, I see the little windows cracked right there. And it landed behind the bookcase. So I had a lot of fun digging that out. But 7 times 22 equals 154. So we're still playing in that 150 range for the plantations too. And that seems to be working out pretty good. We are in early winter. This one had a problem. This one cleared out though. But these all cleared out as well. So that's interesting. That's flax. Is flax on that crop list? Or is it only food crops? Flax is there. It's a 2-month one. And it's 130 degrees. So we can't cook it out. So it's a fast growing one. It should have made it. So this was a farmer issue, not a plant issue. But that one's going to be replanted. And that is done, and we're shooting for 150s over here as well. So we'll see how that works out. So these guys need to be crops. Put them in now, and we were playing with 17, so that worked out to 17 nines. I think that was 153. Like that. Do we want to go bigger? If we go one bigger, we could put in just the crops that do the 2 months. You know, let's do that. Let's experiment with that. That'll be the biggest crops on the map with the shortest growth times, and we'll see how that plays out. So 17 more than 153, so that's 170? Yeah, 170 squares. We'll see how that works with a 2-month growth time crop. So let's erase that other one, match it, food, crop. Got the crop right? I did not, right there. So by 10, and we'll eventually road the bottom of this, but let's not right now. So we want to prioritize, let's see. I'm thinking this whole area, and then double prioritize this one. That right there. Now the red doesn't show up over here. Interesting. So they'll come get this done, then they'll get to work on this while we're laying this out. So that takes care of those. Now the question I've got, I can turn time back on now. Probably should have done this at the beginning, so they could have been working on that while we were doing our tour of the town. But what do we have in the way of jobs out here and houses to support it? You know, we increased the houses all around so that people would work closer to their home, but that also brought in so many more people that we were having a food problem. So we've added even more food, and we've added the rice farm over there, which we'll probably check next episode. But have we then outpaced our houses? It's kind of a balancing act you got to play. And while I am talking, what is... Okay, that is the farmer from right there. Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just make sure that person's a dedicated laborer for right now. So we've got 10 houses, 6 and 4. 10 houses, so 20 laborers in the way of parents. And within time, there'll be several kids, you know, randomly in here that will also be laboring. So we've got 20 to 30 jobs out here. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and all of these guys. 24. We're iffy on, you know, we're hitting our limits over here. These houses are just maintaining all the jobs that were already out here. And the shore houses and the overflow from this area. Hey, it is in. Oh, we'll check that next. So I'm thinking we're going to turn these guys back on. So we've added 1, 2, 3, 4 houses. I think 4 houses is all. Maybe there was a 5th house. I think there were 2 over here. So 5 houses. That's what... Stockholm, yeah, 5 houses. So... if what I heard long ago is correct, at 100 food per person per year, we're at, 5 times 4 to 5, so 20 to 2,500 more food needs to be coming in to take care of that. So we've got 2,000 we just put in here, and don't know what's going to be brought in with the rice farm that we'll be putting in, which is, I thought was here. Did I not do it? Rice planter, there he is. Let's put that up so we can keep track of it. But this is a reed farm. That's not that. Here we are. Dock workshop. You can have up to 2 people. Let's go ahead and employ both. 2 people there, and they can make fire bundles, survival coats with the reeds. Oh, it's reed based. Okay. Survival coats we've never made before. Maybe we'll pop another one of these in to do that, or we could do it over there at the tailor as well, or the clothier. But you also make rope, and you'll make rough tools. We have no need for rough tools, but we might put 3 workshops in just to see the production that comes out of the dock workshops compared to the land-based versions of these. But for now, let's have him run reeds. So fuel limit of 25. Let's up that one considerably. I don't see any reason to not be at least 5,000 there. Clothes limits. Yeah, while we're here, we could do it from another panel, but let's go ahead and do that while we're thinking about it. Dry goods we did last time. Tool limit, I would love to have a reason to break through that limit. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. These limits should have been upped long ago, but there really wasn't a need at that point. So you are going to start making fire bundles. We'll see in a couple of years what you have made compared to the other ones. Over here, he is still being torn down to be upgraded. Dock residence. What am I looking at here? Oh, we upgraded the dock home. We upgraded one, but not both. Okay, we'll just do the one for now. We'll do these, kind of stagger them in and out. So with that, we'll look at production levels later when we know something. How have the gatherers been doing? Let's kind of look at their numbers one more time. I'm really wondering if we want 4 in each one. I'm thinking 4 are enough to keep the quantity of food available low enough that they're not going to be bringing in as much each. I might be better off using this labor elsewhere. That's my thoughts. Those are some pretty good numbers, though. Those really are. There's no logs. That's what I was wondering last episode. If we got rid of the log, what happens to the blueberries if there was a log there and it only showed these 5? Were blueberries being brought in but just not showing on the list? Or does the game just throw that count away because there wasn't a space for it? I don't know how the mechanics of the code work in this situation. Is it still being counted or not? So now that everything in here is food and there's no logs thrown in accidentally, what have we got? And these numbers are actually really big. I'm impressed. We've got 14, 15, 16, 22, 24, 25, and that's roughly with the others another 6, so 31. So we are approaching that, what, 9? 3,000 divided by 4, so 8-ish, 800 each, kind of like that. 31 is close to 3,200. Let's see, we are in late winter. Let's see what this guy's doing. Here you are. There. Not as big, actually quite a bit smaller, and there's hardwood taking up the space, so this one's doing better. You can see this year's going to be far better than last time. So we're at 16, and 6 is 22, and 5 is 27, so we're 28, 29, so almost 3,000 again. This guy over here, the one that's been here all along, his circle is still pretty... Well, he's got a lot of stuff crowded into his circle. He really does. So his production can't be... That's not him. Cannot be as good. So this year here... Well, it's not looking that bad, though. There's a little more than 16. So 17, 18, 19, and another 8 is 27, and another 5. It's doing it. So we're in that 800 food per employee range. I'd say that's pretty good. We're going to keep that. I'm not going to decrease them. These guys are making 1,000 per employee on a good year. So, all right, these guys are in. We are at late winter. Let's see if these plantations can be prioritized and see if we can get these in. So, plantation there. And what kind of count can we pull off here? So, it is still there. That is so strange. There is something there that the game cannot display. It's in the background, and it's rendering us impotent there. Alright, let's work with this guy. So it's giving us an 8 by 18. What is that? I could make some guesses, but I can hit my keys a little faster. 8 times 18 equals 144. So if we were to, well, 144 is a guarantee of getting it done in time. I think we'll go ahead and just do that. 8 by 18, and this one's going to have to wait until we figure out what is going on there. Let's one last time hit the the various deletes. Let's delete structure through here. Nothing to delete. Let's delete road through here. Nothing to delete. And let's cancel a potential road that was trying to be built there. That's not helping either. And yet when I put in the plantation, it thinks there's something there. We'll try to check that again next time. I'll shut the computer down, shut the game down, restart everything, and see if a fresh reboot does anything. But I have a feeling that this is part of the game save. That may be storage buildings for the rest of our game in that space. Let's prioritize this guy. This guy over and above the roads. But this guy first. Okay, that's more likely to get done than this one. These guys are ready. So let's do this real quick and we call this episode done. So this one we want to be a crop that, let's see, turn that off, turn this on, add him, and it didn't go on, did it? It's not going to happen until I pick the crop. Okay, so I need a crop that doesn't have it has at least a 90-degree high limit, and actually the upper limit of 130 would be good too, and has a 2-month growth time. Rock melon fits into that. Sorghum fits into that. Did we ever buy sorghum? Talked about it. Wasn't absolutely certain what it was, so we didn't do it. Let's go to the rock melon. Now we can add somebody. I thought we did. 28. Oh, we did. 28. Okay. This one over here, we're going to choose. What else is there? So something that is a 130. Corn and cotton that are 2 months. Oh, cotton is not food, though. Flax is mushroom, oat, onion. Well, raspberry works, even though it's at the 90-degree range. Pumpkin's only 80, so we'd probably have a lot of trouble here. What else do we want? Spinach? Don't know if we have spinach. Going through my list here. I know sunflower is doing great. I'm going to do one more sunflower. That is the one that we're going to have the bulk of, that we're going to make our oils out of, and maybe even have as a crop to sell. I don't know what its value is. I guess the oil would make more sense to sell the oils. But we'll do that. We'll add one more worker. We're doing good on our quantities here. Pick up. Pick up. In fact, if I were to add one more and take them away, that doesn't work. Why do we have a question mark? Oh, because of this. There we go. Okay. So we're good there. We're good here. And I have got to shut this episode down. Oh, one last little thing, though. This came in. And this was supposed to be... Actually, we were going to do... Let's do a bamboo just to make sure it actually happens. It was going to be 2 flaxes, 2 bamboos, but this might not make it in time. We're going to flip over to early spring here real quick. We're 44 degrees in late winter. Wow. This crop is going to start fast. We're going to have a booming crop this year. So you're going to be bamboo. We're going to throw in this guy and that. You are flax. Both of you are hemp. That's for our rope. Yeah, we'll leave that. These guys are for next time. All of our crops are in. I think we are good. Farmers? Why am I 30 of 32 now? What did I miss? I don't know. But now it says we're happy, but I missed something somewhere. Now, after I sign off here, I'll go through and figure out. There's a field somewhere in here that's 2 workers instead of 1 or something like that. Anyway, so that was my rambling for this episode. Next time, we're going to do our best to get across that river. I think everything is balanced enough now. I think we're going to be fine. We're sitting at 20,000 food. I think we're in pretty good shape now. Let's go build a city. So next time, folks, I thank you for watching. This has been Noble Rambler. If you would hit the thumbs up and subscribe down there below the video, I'd really appreciate it, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye, folks.